Greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Hit that like, share, and subscribe for me if you would. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody who wants to share some love. And the StreamYard link is down there for anybody that wants to join the panel. As you see, tonight's title is Marijuana Moment. I wanted to take tonight to present a site I came across that in my research, being an open source researcher like I am, I research many things, and marijuana is one of them, of course. Cannabis, THC, indica, sativa, whatever. The various different laws and regulations as they're growing and evolving. And this is one of those sites that has a plethora of information all on one site as it relates to all of that stuff. So we're going to take a look at it. It's called Marijuana Moment. I don't know if I put that in the details section or not. I can't remember. If I didn't, I will put that down there when I get done. But it's simply Marijuana Moment. And you should be able to see this screen. So let's take a look at it. It's got politics, science and health, culture, business, videos. It's got a newsletter. You can remove the ads, build tracking, about Marijuana Moment. Support Marijuana Moment. Let's start there. About Marijuana Moment. Keeping Marijuana Moment online and updated with the most important breaking news takes considerable resources. And we can't do this work without your help. I think that's one of the reasons that I brought this up, is because I already see a plethora of information, and I think it's important to realize this aspect that that's what's going on already. They're getting this put together with outside resources. It's a matter of a collective of people coming together with information and knowledge, the true benefit. And so I think this is one of those sites that we see before us that's taking advantage of a collective effort in all aspects of marijuana. While we generate some revenue from advertising, Marijuana Moment's most stable base of support is the growing number of readers who value our cannabis advocacy journalism. See, they're naming that right off the top as the advocacy journalism, the information, the knowledge. Enough to chip in with a monthly pledge on Patreon. So they have a channel on Patreon. At varying pledge levels, Marijuana Moment supporters get access to rewards like cannabis legislation tracking tools, shout-outs, and early exclusive content. If you have value staying up to date on marijuana news, please help us keep doing this. Special thanks to these sustaining subscribers who make our work possible with insubstantial Patreon pledges. It's got a list of a bunch of them. We got Chinese hemp. Interesting. So let's go back. We've got, you can subscribe to the newsletter, build tracking. So let's start with politics. And remember, folks, the link is down there if you want to jump up on panel and join the discussion, bring up your views and such. Federal officials are suddenly seizing marijuana from state-licensed businesses, leaving industry perplexed. With legalization dead for the session, Hawaii lawmakers advance incremental bills to expand decriminalization and expungements. Florida Marijuana Initiative will improve quality of life by providing alcohol alternative, top cannabis CEO says, pushing back against DeSantis, who says it will decrease quality of life. He believes that the voters down in Florida won't vote it in. GOP senator urges Border Patrol to reverse marijuana employment policy change, arguing loosening rules undermines security. Interesting. Well, let's take a look here. The GOP senator is calling on U.S. Customs and Border Protection to reverse its updated policy that narrows the window of employment ineligibility over past marijuana use from 2 years to 3 months, arguing that it undermines the security and integrity of the Border Patrol workforce and questioning the trustworthiness of recruits who used cannabis. In other words, they're saying that they can't use cannabis while they're on the job, while they're working for the Border Patrol. But they can have used cannabis in the past. They're taking it from 2 years in prior use to 3 years prior use. In a letter sent to CBP Acting Commissioner Troy Miller on Sunday, Senator James Lankford said he's very concerned about the impact of the modest reform, which he said flatly contradicts Border Patrol's mission to protect our nation against illegal drugs. Flatly contradicts Border Patrol's mission to protect our nation against illegal drugs. So with the rest of the nation legalizing marijuana, it's no longer an illegal drug. It's not clear when the CBP employment policy was revised, but the senator said his staff learned about it at a briefing last month. CBP briefers reported to my staff that this policy change was precipitated in part because of confusion between federal law and state law in states where marijuana has been legalized. However, as a federal agency, CBP should ensure its personnel comply with federal law regarding the illicit or otherwise prohibited use of controlled substances. Langford said that CBP briefers reported that people who admit to past cannabis use often admit to other disqualifying criminal conduct, which he said is not surprising because regardless of state laws, users often obtain gray market. Where'd that come from, huh? Remember that yesterday? Now we're talking about marijuana moment, and somebody else is mentioning gray market marijuana, gray market products, as we spoke about products and services, gray market products and services in yesterday's stream. By unlicensed sellers due to its lower price. So again, it's all about the price and everything. And this is an article by Kyle Jaeger, April 8th, 2024. Interesting bit of information about the concept between the federal and the states and how they want to implement it and yet sit there and argue about the differences. Listen. If all 50 states ceded their jurisdiction to the United States and all 50 states that use the commercial code to transform and change their policies statewide and interstate and intrastate trade and commerce, then the federal government just takes upon the duty of making the regulations to sustain that. So in the meantime, we have federal regulations that sustain things in this drug war when marijuana was considered a level 1 drug. They're changing that. So now they have to change it at the state level before it will change at the federal level. It's a process. So let's take a look at another one. Let's go to Science and Health. Science and Health, and it says CBD's potential to treat pain, cancer, schizophrenia, and other conditions highlighted in scientific review. CBD's potential to treat pain, cancer, schizophrenia, that thing, and other conditions highlighted in new scientific review. Teen marijuana use has declined in Washington since legalization, new state research shows. More than 90% of smokable hemp samples analyzed by researchers contained illegal amounts of THC, new federal study finds. More than 90% of smokable hemp. See, there's a difference between hemp, cannabis, and even in cannabis you have indica and sativas. Here's the video picture, thumbnail. A citrusy smelling terpene in marijuana can reduce anxiety and paranoia caused by THC. Take a look at that. I'm interested because it says terpene. Terpene is an oil. Like I've spoken many times, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I'm pretty sure that they swabbed the baby in some kind of oil as an anointment. Terpenes. Essential oils. The citrusy smelling terpene in marijuana can reduce anxiety and paranoia caused by THC, federal funded study finds. A new study funded by the National Institute on Drug Abuse has found that a citrusy smelling terpene in marijuana could help ease anxiety and paranoia associated with THC. The findings, researchers say, could help unlock the maximum therapeutic benefit of THC and protect public health. That's a bold statement. I'm surprised I'm able to get away with that on here. I mean, we are still streaming, right? So pay attention to the Wyrd Wyzard down below. Wyrd Wyzard at wordwisewarrior.art. Fair use commentary under 17 U.S.C. 107. Limitations on exclusive rights. Fair use, free education review only, not monetized. PayPal is for donations only. And then, of course, you have my PayPal link. So, and then we want to flip down to this other one, and we want to go to fair use. All clips are used for fair use commentary, criticism, and educational purposes. See Hossein Sada and versus Klein, 276 F Supplement 3D 34. Southern District, New York, 2017, equals 3 LLC versus Jukin Media, Inc., 139F. So it's already in the public domain, and I'm just doing a review of the information. And again, this is by Ben Adlin, March 25th, 2024. Published in the latest issue of the journal Drug and Alcohol Dependence, the new paper says that subjects who vaporize the terpene D-limonene along with a dose of THC experience less anxiety and paranoia compared to those who consume THC alone. Ratings of anxiety-like subjective effects qualitatively decreased as D-limonene dose increased, the report says, and concurrent administration of 30 milligrams THC plus 15 milligrams D-limonene significantly reduced ratings of anxious, nervous, and paranoia compared with 30 milligrams THC alone. Although D-limonene modulated the anxiety-like effects, however, it seemed to have minimal effect otherwise on participants' experiences. In other words, it'll get rid of that fear for you, but the cop is probably still going to give you a ticket from when he pulled you over. The addition of D-limonene, which is found in many citrus fruits in addition to cannabis and smells like oranges, had little impact on the other common acute subjective cognitive or physiological effects of THC. Inhaling the vaporized terpene by itself, meanwhile, did not produce any acute effects that differ from placebo. To arrive at the conclusions, researchers had participants inhale vaporized D-limonene alone, THC alone, THC and limonene together, or placebo, distilled water. They then recorded subjects' vital signs, cognitive performance, and subjective drug effects and mood. Measurements were taken immediately following exposure as well as periodically afterward over a course of 6 hours. The experiment showed that simultaneously administering vaporized D-limonene and THC reduced subjective indices of THC-induced anxiety in a dose-orderly manner. The 12-author study found. So there were 12 people that did this study. However, co-administration of D-limonene with THC did not systematically alter other subjective, cognitive, or physiological effects of THC, and D-limonene did not elicit any pharmacodynamic effects when compared with placebo. Interesting. Let's see what the panel's got, or chat. There we go. Somehow. Goldsmith says, hey Keith, off topic. Which of your videos explains using a number instead of the name and address? Just look up, let me put it in the chat. It's 19 CFR 149.3 of the U.S. Code, or the Code of Federal Regulations. The title of it is Data Elements. When you look that up, it'll tell you who can use a number in lieu of the name and address and for what purposes. And then when you look at 48 CFR 52.212-5, you see that contract terms and conditions are required to implement statutes or executive orders or commercial items, commercial items or commercial services. And if that's the case, anything that has to do with commerce, you can use a number in lieu of a name and address. And I don't know what happened to my video again, but Tribe says it smells like a dirty taco box. Yeah, that's one of the things you have to remember if you're a fisherman, that those rubber tackles and everything, those have an oil in them. And that's what we're talking about. Terpene is an oil base. So let's get back to it. What else? We want to go back. Study shows Colorado marijuana products are overstating THC potency, with researchers citing possible lab fraud. Be careful in Colorado, folks. People be ripping you off. Approximately 70% of the labels reported THC percentage more than 15% higher than what was quantified through the lab. Wow. That's a big markup, folks. See, they'll rip you off even in the marijuana market. That's part of the legalization, though. They can keep track of that. They have authority. And this is the difference between private sales and public sales. Private sales, you make the exchange. You don't, you know it's good stuff. You know? You're dealing with the same private guy. CBD has potential to manage symptoms of alcohol use disorder. New scientific review finds. Interesting. Now we're going to try to get alcoholics off of alcohol by putting them on marijuana. And what do you see? Do you see the 180-degree turnaround? They also fill semi-trucks with moldy bud and radiate full semis worth at a time. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful of who's doing what, how much they're doing, how they're storing it. Same as any kind of feedlot that's storing grain and stuff. You got to make sure that they're storing it properly so that they're not feeding your animals molded corn that's going to kill them. Let's read part of that one. This one here is by Ben Adlin again, March 22nd, 2024. A new review of scientific literature around CBD and its effects suggests that the cannabinoid could be useful in managing symptoms of alcohol use disorder by modulating brain networks that perpetuate addiction. So now they're saying that one of the things that they said was addictive is now capable of actually modulating brain networks that perpetuate addiction in order to change that addiction. The review from authors at the University of Sydney and local health districts in the Australian city attempts to theorize the potential neurobiological mechanisms by which CBD may ameliorate various symptoms of AUD. See, your body has its own cannabinoid system. Why would it have a cannabinoid system if it was bad for you? It would suggest that you actually require a certain amount of it. Now it's a matter of determining what amount and in what kind of capacity. Is it the oil? Is it the ingestion through smoke? Is it powdering it up in a tea? There are many different ways. But again, as we discussed in the earlier thing, the terpenes are the ones that is the thing that's important, I think. And again, that's just my opinion. Previous research suggests that CBD may affect salience, reward, emotion generation, and regulation and executive control, including inhibition control, working memory, and self-monitoring. Self-monitoring. This is one of those things, I've been doing a little bit of smoking here and there most of my adult life, and a lot of it has been on my own. And I get to sit there and self-reflect. And I think that's been an important process of who I am today. Processes. The report, which was published on Thursday in the Journal of Cannabis Research, says these processes are highly relevant to alcohol-seeking behaviors, suggesting that CBD may have potential in the management of alcohol use disorder. CBD appears to modulate neurotransmitter systems and functional connections in brain regions implicated in alcohol use disorder, suggesting CBD may be used to manage AUD symptomatology. To conduct the review, researchers looked at previously published neuroimaging studies involving the effects of CBD on healthy brains, examining how the cannabinoid affected brain activity, as well as subjective measures like anxiety and mental sedation. Although not supported by all the studies presented, they wrote, the majority of the neuroimaging literature presented in this systematic review suggests that CBD may normalize these processes through its effect on mesocortical limbic, salience, and frontal striatal signaling. That happens to be with the emotional center cortex there, or center there, in the frontal part of your brain. It's what they call them frontal lobotomies, so people don't get so emotional and out of range. They do it for people with personality disorders and great mood swings and stuff. Given the relevance of the networks affected by CBD in this review on alcohol-seeking behavior and relapse, the team concluded research into the effect of CBD on brain and behavior in populations with AUD to determine any potential role Poor management is warranted. Interesting. Anybody got anything on that? Well, that's what it's all about. Having that state as the daddy, the overseer. We see it with the Amish community too. They're trying to take over the Amish community and say the Amish community has to provide their products to the public to the same degree that the federal government does. But yet the federal government is the one that allows the rest of the industries to put things into the food that is not good for it, whereas the Amish don't do that. They provide a natural source, and their only processing is just that, the processing. They're not turning around and grinding things down into hamburger and adding synthetic shit to it. They're not creating dyes to clean up the shit that fell on the floor and then turn around and dye it after they clean it with chemicals. So that it looks like meat again. That's bullshit. It's about getting back to our natural self. So the next one I got is from that page, or from that site, and it's the one on CBD's potential to treat pain, cancer, schizophrenia, and other conditions, highlighted in New Scientific Review. Highlighted in New Scientific Review. A new scientific review highlights the potential of CBD to treat and manage the symptoms of conditions like epilepsy, pain, cancer, schizophrenia, diabetes, and among others. The wide-ranging 11-page review takes up the broad task of trying to summarize completely the impact of cannabis on human health, finding that while the field has yet to be thoroughly explored, the plant and its components exhibit neuroprotective, anti-inflammatory, antithrombotic, antibacterial, analgesic, and anti-epileptic properties. The study, Beneficial Effects of Cannabidiol from Cannabis, was published last month in the journal Applied Biological Chemistry. In addition to the overview of cannabis on human health, it delves into recent CBD research advancements, highlighting the compound's potential medical applications. Our exploration encompasses its pharmacological properties, mechanisms of action, and accumulating evidence supporting its use in various medical conditions, authors wrote. Additionally, we critically assess challenges and controversies surrounding CBD research, including regulatory considerations and potential adverse effects. It features sections on cannabinoids as treatment for the form of epilepsy known as Dravet syndrome, as a promising pain relief alternative, as a way to manage the symptoms of schizophrenia, and even as a possible inhibitor of COVID-19 infection. It also touches on the diverse anti-cancer properties of cannabinoids that authors said present promising opportunities for future therapeutic interventions in cancer treatment, as well as CBD's apparent effects on diabetes-related biological processes. So those are apparent, saying they're obvious. They can be seen. Interesting. And with that, we come to the conclusion. I wanted to make sure that I got that word out there. Marijuana Moment, a site that I came across. I hope everyone would check it out. They've got a lot of great information as regards to the coming up of the marijuana movement and how it's also coming back into many lives in many different perspectives. See, it's not just the occasional recreational smoker anymore. It's getting into the medical world, and they're having real effects. And it's amazing how once we open our minds and see things for what they really are and quit living in that fear, that paranoia that it talks about. I don't know that marijuana ever caused me any paranoia. So I don't know if it would have any kind of effect going through that kind of test that we were talking about. I never recognized any kind of paranoia when I've done any kind of experimentation or otherwise. So with that, we are done. And I want to thank everybody for your support. Appreciate it. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe on the way out. And of course, there's a PayPal link for anybody who wants to share some love. And I'll be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to start doing some morning streams. I've got all these insanity short clips that I want to go through. So I think I'm going to start doing a stream in the morning as well as the evening. So be watching for that. And in the meantime, you know me, folks. Even if my camera's not working, you know I love you. But I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And that's to say, I don't care if you don't love me, don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you and have a good night. Bye now.